Barefoot twin sisters were pushing a rusted shopping cart to collect cardboard. When the billionaire knelt beside them, she noticed a birthmark that made her burst into tears. The black Range Rover glided silently among the skyscrapers in the heart of Los Angeles's financial district, its glossy exterior reflecting the scorching December sun. Claire Laurent adjusted her Cartier sunglasses, absently watching the frantic rush of people on the sidewalks. At 40, she had built an empire that placed her among the most influential women in the country, yet she carried a void that no bank account could ever fill. The driver slowed down when the yellow traffic light flickered, and that was the moment time seemed to freeze. On the sidewalk to the right, two tiny girls pushed a rusty supermarket cart, their grimy little hands barely reaching the peeled metal sides. They couldn't have been more than 5 years old. The cart was crammed with cardboard boxes and plastic bottles, a precarious stack that wobbled dangerously. Their small bare feet took tentative steps on the hot pavement, as if each step was a new discovery. They were identical twins. Their dresses, clearly too large for their frail bodies, were dirty and faded. Their brown hair, tangled and uncut, framed angelic faces that, despite being covered in the city's grime, radiated an innocence so pure it made Claire's heart skip a beat. Parker stopped the car immediately. The order slipped from her lips in a breathless whisper, her voice trembling with an emotion she couldn't name. Without waiting for Parker to open her door, Claire got out, her 15-centimeter Louboutin heels echoing on the concrete. The girls stopped pushing the cart, their wide green eyes fixed on the elegant woman approaching them. Ignoring her $10,000 Chanel skirt and the curious glances of passers-by, Claire knelt right there on the sidewalk, meeting them at eye level. Up close, the impact was even greater. Even under the layer of the city's dirt, there was a delicacy in their features that stirred long-buried memories. "Hello, little ones," Claire said gently, removing her sunglasses so they could see her own green eyes. "My name is Claire." One of the twins, with a small scratch on her chin, took a hesitant step forward. "I'm Rose," she whispered, her childish voice naturally shy. "And this is Lily." Her tiny fingers intertwined with her sister's in an instinctive gesture of mutual protection. It was at that moment, when Lily shifted slightly, that Claire saw it. There, at the base of the girl's neck, was a small crescent-shaped birthmark. The world seemed to stop spinning. The deafening traffic noise, the impatient horns, the pedestrians' chatter, everything vanished. That mark. It was identical to Marie's. Her Marie. Tears began rolling down Claire's face, smudging her flawless makeup. Lily, noticing the unwavering stare at her neck, lifted a small hand to the birthmark instinctively, exactly how Marie used to whenever she felt shy. With trembling hands, Claire pulled a silk handkerchief from her Hermes purse. "May I?" she asked softly, holding it near Lily's face, and the girl nodded timidly. Gently, she wiped a smudge of dirt from the little girl's cheek, revealing dimples identical to the ones she used to kiss every night so long ago. "Why are you crying, ma'am?" Rose asked, her sweet voice filled with concern. Claire tried to smile through her tears. "Because you both remind me of someone very special," she answered sincerely. "Would you like some hot chocolate? There's a coffee shop nearby." The twins looked at each other, a silent conversation happening through looks that only they understood. Lily spoke this time, her voice so quiet Claire had to lean in to hear. "We have to go now. She's waiting." "Who's waiting, sweetheart?" Claire asked, her heart speeding up. "We can't say," Rose replied, clutching her sister's hand even tighter. "But we have to go." The girls began to move away, their tiny bare feet leaving small marks on the dirty ground. The cart full of cardboard remained there, forgotten, the only proof that the encounter had not been a figment of Claire's imagination. "Wait," Claire called, her heart torn between the urge to run after them and the fear of scaring them further. "Please." But the twins were already running, their small silhouettes disappearing among the crowd of hurried legs on the sidewalk. Claire stayed on her knees, tears now streaming freely down her face, while all the pain of the last 15 years seemed to resurface all at once. Parker approached discreetly. "Ms. Laurent?" Claire rose slowly, her gaze still fixed in the direction the girls had vanished. The birthmark on Lily's neck, the dimples, the green eyes. All the puzzle pieces she'd been trying to put together for 15 years were right there, slipping through her fingers once more. But now she knew. They existed. They were alive. And this time she would find them again, even if she had to turn the entire city upside down. The sun was already setting when the Range Rover passed through the gates of the Laurent mansion in Beverly Hills. Claire remained motionless in the back seat, her green eyes still brimming with tears, as she gazed at some undefined point beyond the window. The images of those two little girls kept dancing through her mind, their bare feet, their oversized dresses, that crescent birthmark that had flipped her world in a matter of minutes. "Ms. Laurent," Parker's voice brought her back to reality. "We've arrived." Claire stepped out of the car automatically, her heels suddenly feeling like they weighed a ton. The three-story mansion rose imposingly before her, its cream-colored walls reflecting the last rays of the day. It was a home far too large for just one person. She had always known that. But never had this fact weighed on her as much as it did now. Stepping into the main hall, she was met by the familiar silence. Helena, the housekeeper, approached with soundless steps. "Dinner will be ready in 20 minutes, Mom." "I won't have dinner tonight, Helena. Please just bring some tea to my room." The housekeeper hesitated, visible concern etched on her aging face. "Are you all right, ma'am? You look pale." Claire merely nodded, unable to elaborate. She climbed the stairs like an automaton, her thoughts a storm of memories and possibilities. Reaching the second-floor hallway, she stopped. To her right was a door that had remained closed for 6 years, Marie's room. Her hands trembled when she touched the gilded doorknob. The room was exactly as Marie had left it that fateful night. The king-sized bed still covered with the pink bedspread she loved so much, walls still decorated with posters of her favorite bands, the vanity table still scattered with her makeup, an untouched time capsule preserving her daughter's last moments in that house. "You can't control my life forever?" Marie's words echoed in her memory, as vivid as they had been on that night. "Just because you sacrificed everything for the company doesn't mean I have to do the same." Claire collapsed onto Marie's bed, tears now running freely. It had been such a petty argument looking back. Marie wanted to study music in London, to follow her dream of becoming a composer. Claire insisted she study business, to prepare for eventually taking over the family company. "You're throwing your future away," Claire had shouted, losing the composure she usually prized so highly. "Think about everything I've built for you." "I never asked for any of this," Marie countered, her green eyes so much like Claire's flashing with anger. "I just want to be myself, Mom. Why is that so hard for you to understand?" That was the last time she ever saw her daughter. The next morning, Marie was gone, leaving only a note. "I need to find my own path. Don't try to find me." But Claire did try. Oh, how she tried. She hired the best private investigators, used every connection, searched every place she could think of. Marie had vanished like smoke in the wind. And now, 6 years later, those two little girls had appeared, like a sign from fate. That birthmark on Lily's neck. Claire rose abruptly and walked to Marie's vanity. She opened the first drawer with urgency, her hands shaking as she rummaged through old teenage trinkets. There it was, a photo of Marie at 15 by the pool, her crescent birthmark clearly visible on her neck. Claire mentally compared the marks. They were identical. Not just similar, absolutely the same, in the same spot. And those green eyes, those dimples when smiling. Could it be? Could Marie have? The math started forming in her head. Marie had run away 6 years ago, and the girls looked about 5. "Your tea, ma'am." Helena's voice startled her. Claire hadn't realized how long she had been standing there, lost in thought. "Helena?" Claire called as the housekeeper turned to leave. "Do you remember Marie's birthmark?" The older woman paused at the door, her eyes softening with the memory. "How could I forget? She used to say it was her fairy mark when she was little. Exactly like the one you saw on that little girl today, isn't it?" Claire whirled around. "How did you—" "Parker told me about what happened downtown. I've worked for you for 30 years, Claire. I know when something has shaken you to your core." Claire moved to the window, gazing at the garden now bathed in twilight. "They're so small, Helena. barefoot picking up cardboard. Her voice caught. And that mark, identical to Marie's, it can't be just a coincidence. What do you plan to do? The question hung in the air for a few seconds. Claire closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. When she opened them again, a new determination shone there. I'm going to find them again. I need to know more about them, where they came from, who they live with. She began pacing around the room, her mind already spinning with different strategies. They mentioned someone was waiting for them. I have to find out who that person is. What if? Helena hesitated. What if there's some connection to Marie? Claire stopped her frantic pacing. It was a possibility her heart had already considered, but her rational mind tried to keep at bay. Then that's all the more reason to find them. But I need to be careful this time. I can't scare them off again. She sat down at Marie's vanity, her fingers absent-mindedly tracing the shape of a dusty picture frame. Tomorrow I'm going to start mapping that area. They must have some routine, places they visit. I'll ask Parker to do discreet rounds in the neighborhood. And once you find them, I'll approach slowly, win their trust little by little. Claire picked up the photo of Marie she still held, her eyes filling with tears once more. I can't repeat the mistakes of the past. I can't try to control everything again. Helena approached, placing a gentle hand on her employer's shoulder. You've changed a lot over these years, Claire. Pain teaches us valuable lessons. Claire nodded, wiping her tears with the back of her hand, a gesture so rare for someone who always kept her composure. I need to find out the truth, Helena, but this time I'm going to do it right. For them, for Marie, for all the chances I missed because I was too stubborn and controlling. The housekeeper offered a soft smile before leaving Claire alone with her thoughts and plans. The tea grew cold and untouched on the vanity as night fell upon the Laurent mansion. Claire stayed in Marie's room for a few more hours, sifting through memories, drafting plans, promising herself that this time it would be different. The two little twins had awakened something she believed long dead. Hope. The sun was barely up when Claire was already in her office on the top floor of the Laurent Tower, her eyes fixed on the window that overlooked the area where she had encountered the twins the day before. She hadn't slept well, tormented by images of their tiny bare feet and shy smiles throughout the night. "Parker," she called through the intercom, "we can go now." This time, Claire chose a more casual look. Well-fitted jeans, a simple silk blouse and comfortable flats. No Louboutin heels or Hermès bags. She wanted the girls to feel at ease around her. The Range Rover slowly drove through downtown Los Angeles. Claire's heart leaped at the sight of every child until she finally spotted them. They were in the same spot, their little shopping cart already half filled with cardboard and bottles. "Stop here, Parker," she instructed, stepping out of the car with a paper bag in her hands. The twins noticed her approach immediately. Rose, as before, stood protectively in front of Lily, but there was more curiosity than fear in their eyes. "Hello, girls," Claire smiled, keeping a respectful distance. "I brought something for you." From the bag, she pulled out 2 fresh sandwiches and 2 juice boxes. The girls' eyes widened, but they stayed where they were. "No need to be afraid," Claire continued, taking a seat on a nearby bench. "We can talk a little while you eat. I promise I won't do anything you don't want." Rose and Lily exchanged looks, engaging in another silent conversation only they could understand. This time, Lily took the first step, cautiously approaching. "Are you still sad?" she asked, her sweet, gentle voice filled with genuine concern. Claire felt her eyes grow moist again, but maintained her smile. "No, dear. Today I'm happy because I found you both again." The girls finally moved closer, accepting the sandwiches and sitting on either side of Claire on the bench. Up close, she could see more clearly the details her mother's heart refused to dismiss. Poorly cut hair, most likely trimmed at home. Clothes that were clean but threadbare. The grime no child should have to wear. "Do you live around here?" Claire asked softly, as they devoured their food with heartbreaking eagerness. "Yes," Rose answered between bites. "On the street behind the grocery store. With our mum," Lily added, a bit of mayonnaise dripping down the corner of her mouth. Claire instinctively grabbed a napkin and wiped it away, making the little girl smile shyly. "Does she know you're out here picking up cardboard?" The twins looked at each other again. "No," Rose admitted. "She works all day, in the morning at a bakery and at night cleaning offices." "We wanted to help," Lily explained, her green eyes so similar to Marie's shining with a premature maturity. "The money from the cardboard helps buy food." Claire felt a knot in her throat. 5-year-old children shouldn't worry about money for food. They shouldn't be on the streets, exposed to countless dangers. "Don't you go to school?" "We do," Rose responded proudly. "In the afternoon, in the morning, we stay with Mrs. Zephyr, our neighbor, but she sleeps a lot, so we come here." Claire watched them finish eating, their childish minds already distracted by a passing butterfly. It was hard to reconcile the innocence of their smiles with the harshness of their lives. "Would you like some ice cream?" she asked, pointing to the shop across the street. Their eyes lit up, but Rose quickly turned serious. "We have to collect more cardboard. Mum said the rent's gone up." "What if I buy the cardboard from you?" Claire suggested, an idea taking shape in her mind. "I can pay you much more than you'd get from the junkyard. That way, you can have ice cream with me and still help your mom." The girls smiled, but Lily frowned a bit. "Why do you want to help us?" Claire took a deep breath. How could she explain such complex feelings to 2 5-year-olds? Because sometimes life gives us a chance to do something good, and we should take it. "Like a guardian angel?" Lily asked, unconsciously touching the mark on her neck. "Something like that," Claire smiled, holding back tears. "So what do you think? Ice cream?" After another silent exchange of looks, the twins enthusiastically nodded. In the ice cream shop, Claire watched them debate flavors with the seriousness of those making a very important decision, their little faces brightened by the simple joy of choosing an ice cream. "Do you have kids?" Rose asked suddenly, licking her strawberry cone. Claire felt a pang in her heart. "I have. I had a daughter," she answered quietly. "She left some time ago." "Is that why you cried when you saw Lily's mark?" Rose continued, her childlike curiosity not realizing how much her question hurt. "Yes, dear, my daughter had the same mark." "Then she was an angel too," Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining. "Just like me." Claire smiled through the tears threatening to form again. "Yes, she was, and so are you two." When they finished their ice cream, Claire insisted on paying a generous amount for the cardboard in the cart. At first, the girls hesitated, but when she explained she would use the material at her company, a small white lie, they agreed. "Can I come back tomorrow to buy more cardboard from you?" Claire asked, watching them clumsily count the bills she had given them. "Will you bring more sandwiches?" Lily asked hopefully. "If you want," Claire smiled, "and we can talk a bit more." "I like talking to you," Rose declared with the typical honesty of children. "You don't talk to us like other grown-ups on the street." Those simple words struck Claire deeply. How many times had these children been ignored or treated with contempt? How many people passed by them every day without even noticing? "Tomorrow then," she confirmed, resisting the urge to hug them. "Okay," they answered in unison, already scurrying off with their quick little steps. Claire watched them leave, her heart torn between the joy of the progress made and the pain of seeing them return to a life children should never have to endure. But it was just the beginning. Tomorrow would be another day, another chance to get closer, to learn more of their story. As she returned to the car where Parker waited patiently, Claire was already planning the next day. She had to be cautious, earning not only the girls' trust, but eventually their mothers as well. And maybe, just maybe, finding out if her suspicions of a connection to Marie were correct. For now, she was content to know that today they would go to sleep with full bellies and a smile on their faces. It was a start, a small step towards something bigger than she could yet define. Mornings in downtown Los Angeles took on a new meaning for Claire Laurent in the following 2 weeks. The routine, once limited to corporate meetings and endless spreadsheets, now began with innocent smiles and sweet conversations with Rose and Lily. On that specific morning, Claire arrived earlier than usual. The sky still had pinkish hues when Parker parked the Range Rover in the usual spot. Besides the now traditional sandwiches, Claire carried a special surprise in her bag. The twins were already waiting, their little faces lighting up as soon as they saw her. The battered cart was gone. Claire had insisted they didn't need to collect material anymore, although she continued to buy whatever they did bring. Good morning, little ones, Claire smiled, taking a seat on the bench that had become their meeting point. From there, she watched the city come to life. Buses filled to capacity, people rushing through their busy lives. "Did you bring hot chocolate today?" Lily asked hopefully, her green eyes gleaming with anticipation. It was surprising how in just 2 weeks the girls had become more talkative, more confident in her presence. "Even better," Claire answered, taking out a small drawing notebook and colored pencils from her bag. "I thought we could try something different today." The 2 pairs of eyes widened at the sight of the new supplies. Claire watched as they touched the paper reverently, as if it were too precious to use. "You can draw whatever you want," she encouraged, handing them breakfast sandwiches. "Meanwhile, tell me about school." Rose was the first to pick up a pencil, her little hand moving with surprising precision across the page. "Yesterday, the teacher talked about different jobs," she commented, focusing on her drawing. "She asked what we want to be when we grow up." "And what did you say?" Claire asked, noticing Lily admiring her sister's sketch. "I want to be a doctor," Rose stated with surprising conviction for a 5-year-old. "To help sick people like they helped Mom when she had that bad lung infection." Claire's heart squeezed painfully. "Your mom was sick?" "It was last winter," Lily explained, finally starting her own drawing. "She coughed a lot and couldn't work. The doctor at the clinic was really nice to her." "What about you, Lily? What do you want to be?" "A teacher," she replied without hesitation, a shy smile crossing her lips. "I want to teach kids how to read pretty stories." Claire watched them draw and chat, their childish minds jumping from one topic to another as effortlessly as butterflies in a garden. Rose drew a hospital with a white-coated figure that was presumably her future self. Lily created a colorful classroom packed with smiling little students. Later in her office, Claire couldn't focus on the reports before her. The girls' voices echoed in her mind, their dreams as big as their needs. She opened a locked drawer in her desk, removing the most recent report from the private investigators. "No sign of Marie Laurent in the last 6 years," the document read. "All leads exhausted. We recommend suspending the search for now." Claire closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. 6 years of looking for her daughter, and now fate had placed 2 little girls in her path who not only bore Marie's physical mark, but shared her essence, her determination, the same spark in their eyes when they spoke of their dreams. She picked up her phone, dialing her lawyer's number. "Mr. Martinez, I need you to research scholarship programs for underprivileged children." "Yes, for elementary school." "No, not for the Laurent Foundation. This is something more personal." After hanging up, Claire looked again at the drawings the girls had given her. Childish lines that told stories of hope, of dreams seemingly too big for their little lives. It wasn't enough just to ensure they had food. They needed opportunities, a future that matched their potential. A soft knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. It was Helena who had insisted on coming to the office that day. "Are those their drawings?" the housekeeper asked, approaching the desk. Claire nodded, a gentle smile on her lips. "Rose wants to be a doctor. Lily wants to be a teacher. Just like Marie," Helena commented quietly. "She always loved playing school when she was little." The remark struck Claire like a bolt of lightning. How had she not realized it before? Memories of Marie, young, sitting on her bedroom floor, seriously teaching her dolls, flashed before her eyes, so similar to Lily. "I can't force anything this time, Helena," Claire murmured, more to herself than to the housekeeper. "I have to do things differently than I did with Marie." "You already are," Helena answered wisely. "You're listening, observing, you're not trying to control everything." Claire stood and walked over to her office window. Below, the city kept up its frenetic pace, oblivious to the tiny dramas unfolding within it. "They need so much, Helena. Not just food or school supplies, they need a real chance to fulfill those dreams. And you can help with that," Helena said softly. "But first you need to fully earn their trust and their mother's trust too." Claire nodded, her reflection in the window glass showing renewed determination in her eyes. "I'll keep up our morning visits. Let them open up naturally. Trust me for who I am, not for what I can give them." She returned to her desk, picking up the girls' drawings again. In each colorful stroke there was a story, a dream, a possibility, and maybe, just maybe, a chance for redemption. Tomorrow I'll bring some children's books, she decided. Lily mentioned she loves stories, and I'll look for educational games that might spark Rose's interest in science even further. Helena smiled, recognizing in her employer's eyes the same spark she got whenever she found a new project to devote herself to. But this time, it was different. It wasn't about corporate acquisitions or market expansion. It was about two little souls who, without realizing it, were helping heal old wounds. Just remember, they're still children, Claire, the housekeeper gently reminded her. Sometimes all they need is someone to listen and play with them. Claire carefully placed the drawings in her briefcase. Tomorrow would be another day, another opportunity to get a bit closer, to understand more about the mystery that fate had laid at her feet, and maybe to find answers to questions she never even knew she had. At the end of the day, before leaving the office, Claire paused again at the window. Somewhere out there in this huge city, a mother was juggling two jobs to support two extraordinary little girls. Somewhere else, perhaps her own daughter was building a life far from everything she once called home. One step at a time, she murmured to herself, echoing the words she used to tell Marie when she was little and impatient. Just one small step at a time. Claire tossed and turned in her king-size bed. The Egyptian cotton sheets twisted around her like chains. The digital clock on the nightstand read 3:47 a.m. another night without sleep. In the darkness, images of the twins haunted her. Not the happy little girls from their morning visits, but haunted versions conjured by her restless mind. She imagined Lily shivering in the cold on a winter night, Rose coughing because of the dampness, both sharing a blanket too thin to keep out the chill seeping through the walls. She pictured their bare feet injured, their stomachs empty when the money ran out before the end of the month. She sat up abruptly, cold sweat running down her forehead. She couldn't go on like this. 2 weeks of brief morning encounters weren't enough, not when every fiber of her being screamed that those girls were part of her family, that Marie, her Marie, was nearby, living a difficult life she could help improve. The sun hadn't yet risen when Claire went down to the kitchen, finding Helena already preparing breakfast. "Another sleepless night, ma'am?" the housekeeper asked, although the dark circles under Claire's eyes gave her answer away. "Helena?" Claire gripped the coffee cup as if seeking courage from its warmth. "I have to find Marie today. I can't wait any longer." The housekeeper paused in her work, studying her employer intently. "How do you plan to do that?" "I'll ask the girls to take me to their house, to Marie." Claire looked up, determination shining through her exhaustion. "No more beating around the bush, no more half-truths. I need to be honest with them." The drive to the usual meeting spot felt longer than ever that morning. Claire had chosen a simple, comfortable dress-nothing that might intimidate. In her bag, besides the usual sandwiches, she carried something special, an old photo of Marie at 15, the crescent birthmark clearly visible. The girls were already waiting, but something in Claire's demeanor must have revealed her tension, because Rose frowned immediately. "Are you sad today?" the little girl asked, naturally reaching for Claire's hand as she sat down between them. "No, sweetheart, I just need to talk to you about something important." Claire took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "Do you know why I come here every morning?" "To bring us breakfast," Lily answered promptly, making Claire smile despite her nerves. "That too, but there's another reason." Claire pulled out the photo, her hands trembling slightly. "This is my daughter Marie. See the mark on her neck?" The twins leaned in, their eyes widening as they recognized the mark identical to Lily's. "It's just like mine," Lily exclaimed, her hand automatically going to her own neck. "Yes, honey, exactly like yours." Claire fought back tears. "Marie, she left a long time ago and I miss her terribly. When I first saw you two, when I noticed your mark, Lily, my heart just knew there was a connection." Rose, always the more perceptive one, studied Claire's face carefully. "You think our mom is your daughter?" The question, so direct in its childlike simplicity, struck Claire like lightning. "Yes," she whispered, "and I really need to see her. Talk to her. Will you help me with that?" The twins exchanged a look, another one of their silent conversations. Finally, Lily spoke first. "Mom gets home from her first job at 2 o'clock. She rests a little before going to her other job." "Will she be mad?" Rose asked, biting her lip in a gesture so similar to Marie's that Claire's heart ached. I don't know, sweetheart, but I promise I only want to help. I've been thinking about you two every night, worried. You cried when you saw my mark, Lily said softly. And you always bring yummy food and drawings and books. And you don't talk to us like other grown-ups on the street, Rose added. You're nice. Tears began to flow freely from Claire's eyes once again. So, will you take me to your house? After one more silent exchange of looks, the twins nodded. The route they took led through a maze of narrow alleys and dimly lit back streets. Claire observed every detail: peeling walls, tangled power lines overhead, the stale smell of dampness everywhere. They stopped in front of an old building divided into several tiny apartments. Rose pointed to an external metal staircase, partially rusted. Up there, she explained, last floor. Each step Claire climbed felt weighted by 6 years of separation. Her heart pounded so hard she was sure the girls could hear it. At the third landing, Rose took a key from a string around her neck. The door opened to a small but tidy space. A single double bed took up most of the room, clearly shared by the three of them. A 2-burner stove, a mini fridge, a few boxes serving as cabinets. On the wall, a single photo. Marie, looking younger, smiling with newborn twins in her arms. Claire felt her legs weaken. It was her Marie, thinner with dark circles under her eyes, but undeniably her daughter. The sound of footsteps on the metal stairs made her heart stop. The twins ran to the door. "Mom, Mom!" And then there she was, Marie Laurent, wearing a simple bakery uniform, her hair pinned up in a careless bun. Her green eyes, as vibrant as Claire's, widened in shock at the sight of the figure in her tiny living space. "Mom?" Time seemed to freeze. 6 years of distance, unspoken words, regret and longing concentrated in that single moment. "Marie!" Claire took a step forward, her legs trembling. "My daughter." The twins watched the scene with wide eyes, clinging to their mother's legs, while fate finally completed its cycle on that hot December afternoon. The silence that filled the cramped apartment was almost tangible. Marie remained at the doorway, her hands instinctively gripping the twins' shoulders as if drawing strength from their touch. Her eyes, every bit as green as Claire's, showed a mix of shock, fear, and something else, a deeper emotion too complicated to name. How did you find me?" Marie finally broke the silence, her voice trembling slightly. Her flower-stained bakery uniform contrasted sharply with Claire's elegant dress. "The mark," Claire answered, tears rimming her eyes as she stared at her daughter. "Lily's mark, the same as yours." The twins exchanged glances, their young minds processing the situation. Rose was the first to catch on, her eyes widening with the revelation. "Mom," she tugged softly at Marie's uniform, "is Claire our grandma?" The word grandma echoed in the tiny room, making Marie visibly flinch. Lily, sensing the tension, clung tighter to her mother's leg. "Why are you here?" Marie demanded, her voice now firmer, almost defensive. "After all this time?" "I never stopped looking for you," Claire said, taking a step closer, stopping when she saw Marie back away instinctively. 6 years, Marie. 6 years waking up every day, not knowing if you were safe, if you were even alive. "I was fine," Marie cut in, but her voice betrayed the lie. The deep shadows under her eyes and her calloused hands told a different story. "Mom," Lily interjected timidly, "Claire is really nice. She brings us sandwiches every day." Marie looked at her daughters, then at Claire, a painful understanding dawning in her eyes. "So that's why you stopped collecting cardboard? Because of her?" Tears spilled down Claire's cheeks. "I ran into them by chance, Marie. They were on the street barefoot. How do you think I felt seeing my granddaughters like that?" "Granddaughters?" Marie laughed humorlessly. "Now they're your granddaughters? Where were you when I found out I was pregnant? When I spent sleepless nights working just to buy them milk? If you had come to me to hear more lectures about responsibility, about how I was throwing my life away?" Marie interrupted, tears now streaming freely down her face. "You never understood me, Mom. You never really tried." The twins watched the argument with frightened eyes. Rose, ever protective, pulled her sister into a hug. "You're right," Claire admitted softly, surprising Marie. "I didn't understand. I was so focused on what I believed was best for you that I never noticed I was suffocating you. But these years without you, They changed me, Marie. Marie wiped her tears away with the back of her hand. And now what do you want? To show up after 6 years and pretend nothing happened? No, Claire's voice broke. I want a chance to make amends, to get to know my granddaughters, to help you if you'll let me. Can we call her Grandma, Mom? Lily asked innocently, momentarily diffusing the tension. Marie looked at her daughters, her little fighters who, despite everything, still found it in their hearts to see the good in people. She looked at her mother, the woman who had once been everything she wanted to escape, now standing in her tiny apartment, with tears in her eyes and her heart on her sleeve. I don't know, Marie answered honestly, both to Lily and to Claire. I really don't know. We can start slow, Claire suggested gently. Just don't shut me out again, not now that I've finally found you. Silence settled back over the apartment, but it was different this time. No longer filled with shock and tension, but with possibilities, painful and scary, yet also hopeful. Did you bring sandwiches today? Rose asked suddenly, her childlike innocence cutting through the tension like a ray of sunshine through dark clouds. A tiny smile tugged at the corner of Marie's lips, so fleeting it almost went unnoticed. You two have been eating her sandwiches every day? They're the best in the world, Lily exclaimed, her momentary excitement making everyone forget the gravity of the situation. Claire reached into her bag, taking out the carefully wrapped sandwiches. I have one for you too, she said softly to Marie, if you want it. Marie looked at the sandwich, at her daughters, at her mother. 6 years of distance, resentment and regret weighed on every second of silence. But so did 6 years of solitary battles, sleepless nights, tough choices made out of love for her children. Maybe, she finally whispered, her voice raw, maybe we can try. Girls, Marie spoke gently, why don't you go play in the hallway for a bit? I need to talk to your grandma. The twins hesitated, but eventually obeyed, each taking half a sandwich. The sound of their small footsteps descending the metal stairs echoed through the tiny apartment. Marie sat down in the one available chair, her fingers nervously tapping against a faded coffee mug. Silence fell for a few moments, broken only by the distant sounds of the city outside. I met Thomas at a piano recital, she began, her voice low but steady. He was waiting tables at the cafe where I played on Friday nights. At first, he seemed perfect. He supported me, said I had talent. Claire intertwined her fingers on her lap, forcing herself just to listen. When I found out I was pregnant, he seemed happy. We got married in a simple ceremony, and for a while I really thought everything would be okay. Marie paused, taking a deep breath. That's when the gambling started. Gambling? Claire asked softly. It started small, betting on horse races. Then came underground casinos, bigger and bigger debts. Marie ran a tired hand over her face. He'd take my paycheck, claim it was for bills, but blow it all at the poker tables. Claire's heart clenched as she saw the pain in her daughter's eyes. When the twins were born, I thought he'd change. For a time he tried, but then... Marie swallowed hard. One night he came home hurt. He'd lost a lot of money, owed dangerous people. He started drinking, became violent. Oh, Marie. Claire couldn't stop her tears. One night I overheard him on the phone negotiating with someone. He talked about using our apartment as collateral, about doing whatever it took to buy more time. Marie shuddered visibly. That's when I realized I had to run. I couldn't let my daughters live in that environment. Marie stood up, walking to the small window. I waited for him to leave for another night of gambling, grabbed the twins and whatever I could carry, and just disappeared. Where did you go first? We spent a few nights at a women's shelter. Then I met Mrs. Zephyr at a gas station where I stopped to change a diaper. She saw how desperate I was and offered us a temporary place to stay. Claire watched her daughter struggle with the difficult memories. I got a job waiting tables at a cafe. The owner let me keep working even after she found out my situation. She helped me find this place. Marie gestured around the tiny space she now called home. It's not much, but it's safe, Claire finished softly, understanding now the real value of those humble walls. Marie nodded, silent tears trailing down her face. Those first months were the worst. I was so afraid Thomas would find us. I could barely sleep at night, jumping at every noise. Why didn't you come to me? Claire asked, though she feared the answer. Shame, Marie finally admitted after a long pause. You always told me I needed to think more carefully about my choices, be more responsible. And there I was, on the run with 2 babies, penniless. Claire stood up, moving closer to her daughter. I would have helped, Marie, no judgments, no lectures. I know that now. Marie gave a sad smile. But back then I was just so lost, so scared. Outside, faint sounds of children laughing drifted through the window rows, and Lily, playing with other kids in the building, unaware of the heavy conversation happening upstairs. Last winter, Marie went on, her eyes fixed on her daughters playing below, I got a bad case of pneumonia. I couldn't work, could barely stand up. The girls, they started collecting cardboard to help out. Her voice broke. They were only 5, Mom, and already carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Claire felt her heart shatter. The image of her granddaughters, so small, braving Los Angeles' chilly streets out of necessity, tore her apart. When I recovered, I promised myself I'd find a way to give them a better life. I tried to save money for a technical course, but every time I saved a bit, a new emergency came up. Higher rent, medicine, an overdue bill. Marie, Claire took her daughter's hands in hers, you're the strongest person I've ever known. You've raised 2 extraordinary girls on your own, protected them from a dangerous situation, never gave up. I was so scared, Mom. Marie finally let out the sob she'd been holding back, so afraid of failing them, of not being enough. Claire pulled her into a tight embrace, letting years of fear and anguish wash away through the tears that now flowed freely from them both. You never failed them, Claire whispered. Look at our girls, so sweet, so brave. That's because of your love, your dedication. For a long moment, mother and daughter stayed locked in that embrace, the sound of the twins laughing outside serving as a gentle reminder of what really mattered. You're not alone anymore, Claire promised softly. Never again. That night, after Thomas's visit, was a long one at the Laurent mansion. Claire had transformed her office into a command center, phones ringing non-stop as her lawyers and private investigators worked to ensure her family's safety. Marie watched her mother take charge of the situation with a mixture of admiration and guilt. Claire Laurent, the powerful businesswoman, was mobilizing resources and connections with the same efficiency she had shown just hours earlier when comforting the twins until they fell asleep. The restraining order documents are already in progress, Claire reported, hanging up from yet another call. I've placed additional security at Strategic Point School, the cultural center, our home. Mom, Marie began, her voice trembling slightly. There's something you need to know, something I've never told anyone. Claire sat down next to her daughter on the leather couch, taking her hands in hers. I'm here, sweetheart. Marie drew a deep breath, summoning courage. The night I ran away, it wasn't just because of the gambling debts, Thomas. He got involved with dangerous people, traffickers. Claire felt her blood run cold but stayed silent, letting Marie continue. He started out as a courier delivering packages to pay off his debts, but soon he wanted more. One night I overheard him on the phone. Marie shivered at the memory. He was negotiating to use our apartment as a distribution point, talking about involving the twins, saying no one would suspect children. Oh, Marie. Claire embraced her daughter, feeling her tremble. That's when I knew I had to leave. It was no longer just about money or gambling. It was about my girls' lives. Marie wiped away the tears that wouldn't stop falling. I grabbed the little I'd managed to hide and disappeared that same night. Helena entered the office quietly, carrying a tray with tea. Her watchful eyes took in Marie's emotional state at once. The girls are sleeping peacefully, she reported in a gentle voice. Rose asked to keep the hallway light on. Thank you, Helena. Claire smiled at the housekeeper who had been by her side for so many years. For everything. After Helena left, Claire grabbed her phone again. Alberto, she addressed her head of security. I want a full investigation into any connections to trafficking. Yes, every detail from the past 6 years, and tighten security at the girls' school. Marie watched her mother operate with calculated efficiency, feeling a burden lift from her shoulders. She was no longer alone in this fight. We need to figure out how to protect the girls without scaring them, Claire reflected, pouring tea for both of them. They've already been through so much. Rose is very perceptive, Marie noted. After Thomas left today, she asked me if that was why we moved so often before. And what did you say? The truth, that sometimes we have to stay away from people who can hurt us, but that now we're safe. Marie gave a sad little smile. She just nodded and went to comfort Lily, who was drawing hearts to chase away the sadness. A soft knock on the door interrupted the conversation. Lily stood there dragging her favorite blanket. You can't sleep, honey. Marie opened her arms and Lily ran straight into them. I had a bad dream, she murmured against her mother's neck. The bad man was there. Just a dream, dear, Claire said, gently stroking her granddaughter's hair. No one will hurt you or your sister. Not ever again. Rose appeared moments later, as she always did when Lily was upset. The bond between the twins never failed to move Claire. Can we sleep here tonight? Rose asked, already snuggling beside her sister on the couch. Marie exchanged a look with her mother, who nodded softly. Soon the Grand Laurent office was transformed into an improvised nest. Helena brought more blankets and pillows, and all four of them settled in together. Grandma, Lily called drowsily. Tell us a story? One about a princess who saves the kingdom? Claire smiled, pulling the blanket over the twins. How about a different story tonight? One about a very brave young mother who did everything she could to protect her two little princesses. Is it about Mom? Rose asked, her eyes gleaming with understanding. Yes, my love. About how your mom is the bravest, strongest person I've ever met. Marie felt silent tears rolling down her cheeks as Claire recounted her story in a way the girls could understand, not as a desperate escape, but as a journey of love and protection. And now, Claire concluded, seeing the twins fighting to stay awake, our story has a happy ending, because the princesses found not only a safe castle, but an entire family that loves and protects them. And the bad man can't get into the castle? Lily murmured, half asleep. No, sweetheart. The castle has magic guards, and the family's love is the strongest shield of all. Once the twins finally dozed off, Marie glanced at her mother, her eyes brimming with tears. You make it sound so beautiful, even though it was such a hard story. Because it is beautiful, Marie. Your love for them, your courage in running away, your strength in rebuilding your lives. It's the most beautiful story I know. Claire picked up her tablet, showing Marie the preliminary reports already coming in. We'll handle this the right way. Thomas will no longer be a threat, nor will his associates. I have the resources and the connections to ensure that. I thought I was alone for so long, Marie confessed, that I had to carry all this fear by myself. Never again, Claire promised, hugging her daughter while the twins slept peacefully between them. We're stronger together. This family, this love we share, no one will ever threaten that. By the time morning light filtered in, Marie finally fell asleep, still holding her mother's hand. Claire stayed awake, keeping watch over her family, her heart filled with love and determination. The next day, while the twins had breakfast in the kitchen with Helena, Claire and Marie gathered again in the office to finalize their protection plans. It wasn't just about legal measures or physical security. It was about creating an environment where Rose and Lily could grow without fear, where Marie could finally let down her guard and trust that she was truly safe. It was about turning the Laurent mansion into not just a fortress against outside threats, but a real home, where love and security went hand in hand, where the shadows of the past could no longer reach them. And as she watched her granddaughters laugh in the kitchen, Claire knew she would do whatever it took to keep those smiles safe. Because this was her family, her most precious legacy, and nothing in the world was stronger than the love that bound them. The apartment in the Morumbi neighborhood was nothing like the grandeur of the Laurent mansion, but for Marie and the twins, it represented something far more meaningful, a fresh start. With 3 bedrooms, a spacious living room, and a little balcony overlooking a park, it was the home Marie had always dreamed of giving her daughters. Is this really my room? Lily asked for the 10th time, spinning in the center of the space that would be hers alone for the first time in her life. The walls, newly painted a soft lilac her choice, still smelled of fresh paint. All yours, sweetie. Marie smiled, watching her daughter admire the bookcase Claire had filled with children's stories. Next door, Rose was already arranging her new science materials on the desk, a special gift from Grandma. The move had been a conscious decision by Marie. Though Claire insisted they could stay at the mansion, Marie knew they needed their own space, a place to build their new life without depending entirely on her mother. "Are you sure you don't want to quit your job at the bakery?" Claire asked, helping organize the kitchen. "Between the music lessons you teach at the school, you already have a stable income." Marie put away some cups before answering. "I want to keep working there, Mom, at least for now, not for the money, but..." She paused, searching for the right words. "It reminds me where we came from, how much we fought for." Claire nodded, understanding. Her daughter had changed so much in these recent months, stronger, more self-assured, yet still humble from all she had endured. "And what if I told you there's an apartment?" Claire pulled another paper from the folder. "In the same block as the school. 3 bedrooms, recreation area. The rent is way less than what you're paying here." "Mom?" Marie sighed, running her hands through her hair in a nervous gesture. "I can't accept all this. It's too much." "It's not charity, Marie. It's an investment in my granddaughter's future, in your future. What if I fail?" Marie's voice shook. "What if I can't teach, if the girls don't adapt?" "Then we'll figure something else out," Claire replied simply. "Together, you're not alone anymore." Marie walked over to the window, looking out at the city below. "I'm so afraid," she admitted in a whisper. "Afraid of relying on someone again, of losing control of my life." "I understand that fear," Claire approached, placing a gentle hand on her daughter's shoulder. "But think about the girls. Think about Rose, who dreams of becoming a doctor. Lily, who wants to be a teacher. Don't they deserve this chance?" "They deserve the world," Marie answered, tears rolling down her cheeks. "Then let me help give it to them. And to you." Claire paused before continuing. "There's one more thing." She took a final envelope from the folder. "What's this?" "Your old sheet music. I found it on the piano at home." Claire smiled gently. "The one you were composing before you left. It's still unfinished." Marie took the envelope with trembling hands. The pages, yellowed with time, still bore her pencil marks, musical dreams she had abandoned so long ago. "I thought I'd lost these," she murmured, tracing the notes with her fingertips. "I never lost anything of yours," Claire said. "I kept everything hoping that one day I could give it back." Footsteps sounded on the outside stairs, interrupting the moment. Soon the excited voices of the twins filled the small apartment. "Mom, Mom!" Rose burst in, followed by Lily. "Mrs. Zifa let us come back because we forgot our lunch." They stopped upon seeing tears on their mother's face. "Are you sad, Mom?" Lily asked, worried. "No, my love." Marie smiled through tears. "I'm just thinking about some changes." "What changes?" Rose asked curiously. Marie looked at her mother, then at her daughters, her little warriors who deserved more than a life of scraping by, haunted by worries. "How would you feel about going to a new school?" she asked softly. "One with a real science lab for Rose and a creative writing program for Lily." The twins' eyes widened. "Like the one Grandma talked about?" Rose asked hopefully. "Exactly," Claire confirmed, smiling. "And we'll live closer to Grandma?" Lily pressed. "So she can make magic tea every day?" Marie laughed, a light sound that hadn't been heard much in that apartment. Maybe it's time for some changes indeed." "For you," she looked at the twins, "and for me as well." Claire watched as the girls hugged their mother, their faces glowing with excitement. In her hands, Marie still clutched the old sheet music, pages vibrating with renewed possibilities. "A new beginning?" Claire offered softly. Marie hugged her daughters tightly, finally allowing herself to dream of a different future. "A new beginning," she agreed, "for all of us." That morning, while the twins headed back to school, already envisioning their upcoming adventures, something fundamentally changed in that little apartment. The fear of the future, though still present, began to yield to something new: hope. And when Marie finally sat at the grand piano in the Laurent mansion a few days later, her hands returning to the keys with the familiarity of a musician coming home after a long journey, she knew she'd made the right decision. Some opportunities are too precious to be lost to fear. Laurent empire renewed, missing heir returns with twin granddaughters. announced the headline of a leading business newspaper. The photo showed Claire Laurent beside Marie at the opening of the company's new cultural center, the twins beaming in their little party dresses. The article recounted the emotional story of their reunion, commending the businesswoman's humanitarian stance in bringing her family back into the fold. In a rundown bar in downtown LA, Thomas stared at the newspaper page with bloodshot eyes. His hands shook from the alcohol and from rage. 6 years searching for Marie and his daughters, and now he found them like this, splashed across the news, living in luxury with the wealthy Laurent family. So that's it, he muttered to himself, crumpling the newspaper. The tramp ran off to crawl back to her rich mommy. Meanwhile, at the Laurent mansion, life took on a new rhythm. Marie had started teaching music classes at Santa Clara School. The twins were flourishing in their new environment, and even Claire seemed younger, invigorated by having her family around. The doorbell rang on a peaceful Sunday afternoon. Helena, who was supervising the twins' playtime in the garden, frowned when she saw a man staggering through the open gate, a careless staff mistake. "Marie!" he bellowed, his voice echoing through the garden. "Where are you, you manipulator?" The twins froze, recognizing that voice. Rose instinctively pulled Lily behind her, while Helena swiftly ushered them inside. "Daddy?" Lily whispered, trembling. Marie, who had been in the music room with Claire, went pale at the commotion. "Thomas!" "Calm down." Claire gripped her daughter's hand, already grabbing her cell phone. "I'll call security." But Thomas had already made his way into the house, his red eyes roaming over the opulent surroundings with a mixture of greed and anger. "What a lovely place you've got here, sweetheart," he sneered, words slurred by drink. "While I spent years worrying about our daughters." "Worrying?" Marie stepped forward, years of fear giving way to anger. "You never worried about anyone but yourself, Thomas. Not when I begged you to stop gambling, not when our girls went hungry. And look at you now," he sneered as though he hadn't heard her. "All dressed up, living in this mansion. How much did that rug cost? More than all my debts combined, I bet." Claire stood beside her daughter. "What do you want, Thomas?" He smiled, a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Just what's mine by right. After all, I'm the father of your precious granddaughters. That must be worth a few million, right?" "Are you trying to blackmail me?" Claire's voice was ice. "Blackmail is such an ugly word," Thomas shrugged. "I'd prefer to think of it as compensation for the suffering I endured all these years without my kids. The press would love to know how the great Claire Laurent let her grandkids live in poverty for years." "Are you trying to blackmail me?" Claire's voice was cold. "Blackmail is such an ugly word," Thomas shrugged. "I prefer to call it compensation for the years of suffering I spent away from my daughters. I bet the press would love to hear how the great Claire Laurent let her precious granddaughters live in poverty for years." "Don't you dare!" Marie stepped forward, her voice shaking with rage. "Don't you dare use our daughters like that." A noise on the staircase caught everyone's attention. Rose was there, Lily right behind, both pairs of eyes wide with fear. "Why didn't you ever look for us before?" Rose asked, her small voice filled with a painful maturity. "Why only now?" Thomas seemed momentarily off balance. I did look. It was your mom who hid you." "Liar!" Marie exploded. "You abandoned us. You gambled away all our money, left us starving. I ran away because I was afraid of you and the people you owed." "Mom cried every night," Lily added softly, making Thomas step back. "We heard her." Claire watched the scene, her finger hovering over the emergency button on her phone. "You have two choices, Thomas. Leave willingly right now, or be escorted out by the police. And believe me, I have enough evidence of your neglect and your attempts at extortion to make sure you never come near my family again." Mansion security was already in place at the entrances, alerted by Helena. Thomas looked around, realizing he was cornered. His gaze flicked over to his daughters, really seeing them for the first time, not as a monetary asset, but as two little girls staring at him with fear and disappointment. He began, his arrogance finally cracking. "I'm sorry." "Get out," Marie commanded, her voice steady. "Get out and don't ever come back." Thomas stumbled toward the exit, flanked by security. Before leaving, he looked one last time at his daughters, but Rose had already turned away, leading Lily with her. As soon as he was gone, Marie rushed to embrace the twins, tears streaming down her face. Claire joined them, forming a protective shield around her family. "Will he come back?" Lily whispered. "No, my love," Claire answered firmly. "I've already taken all legal measures. He won't bother you again." Marie looked at her mother gratefully. "I'm sorry for bringing these problems." "Don't apologize," Claire interrupted gently. "We're a family. We face everything together now." That night, long after the girls finally fell asleep, Marie found Claire in her office sorting through papers while on the phone with her lawyer. "I want a permanent restraining order," Claire was saying, "and investigate all his debts. I want to make sure he has no loophole to try anything again." "Thank you," Marie said once she hung up, "for everything." Claire hugged her daughter, feeling her tremble slightly. "I'll always protect you, Marie, always." Outside, night had fallen over the Laurent mansion. The ghosts of the past had tried to shake their peace, only to bring them closer. A family that, after so long apart, was now complete and determined to stay that way. The night following Thomas's visit was a long one at the Laurent mansion. Claire had once again turned her office into a command center, phones ringing constantly as her lawyers and private investigators worked to ensure her family's safety. Marie watched her mother orchestrate it all, torn between admiration and guilt. Claire Laurent, the formidable businesswoman, mobilized resources and connections with the same efficiency she had shown hours earlier when she'd comforted the twins until they fell asleep. "The restraining order documents are all set," Claire informed her, hanging up another call. "And I've added extra security at every key spot, the school, the cultural center, and our home." "Mom," Marie began, her voice trembling slightly, "there's something you need to know, something I've never told anyone." Claire sat beside her on the leather couch, taking Marie's hands in her own. "I'm here, sweetheart." Marie took a deep breath, summoning courage. "The night I ran away, it wasn't just about gambling debts, Thomas. He got involved with dangerous people, traffickers." Claire felt her heart freeze but remained silent, allowing Marie to continue. "He started out as a courier, delivering packages to cover his debts, but soon he wanted more. One night I overheard him on the phone." Marie shuddered at the memory. "He was negotiating to use our apartment as a distribution hub, talking about involving the girls, saying no one would suspect children." "Oh, Marie," Claire couldn't hold back her tears. "That's when I knew I had to run. It wasn't just about money or gambling anymore. It was about my daughters' lives." Marie wiped away the tears that threatened to keep falling. "I gathered the little I could save in secret and left that very night." Helena slipped quietly into the office carrying a tea tray. Her keen eyes immediately noted Marie's emotional state. "The girls are sleeping peacefully," she reported softly. "Rose asked to leave the hallway light on." "Thank you, Helena." Claire gave a grateful smile to the housekeeper who had served her for so many years, "for everything." After Helena left, Claire picked up her phone again. "Alberto," she called her head of security, "I want a thorough investigation of any trafficking ties. Yes, every detail from the past 6 years, and tighten security around the girls' school." Marie watched her mother work with calculated efficiency, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. She was no longer alone in this battle. "We need to think about how to protect the girls without scaring them," Claire reflected, pouring tea for both of them. "They've already been through so much." "Rose is very perceptive," Marie commented. "Today, after Thomas left, she asked me if that was the reason we moved so often before." "And what did you say?" "The truth. That sometimes we have to stay away from people who might hurt us, but that we're safe now." Marie offered a sad smile. She just nodded and went to comfort Lily, who was drawing little hearts to ward off sadness. A faint noise at the door interrupted their conversation. Lily stood there, dragging her favorite blanket along the floor. "I can't sleep," she mumbled, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "The bad man was there." "It was only a dream, sweetheart," Claire said, moving closer to stroke her granddaughter's hair. "No one is ever going to hurt you or your sister again." Rose showed up right behind her, as she always did when Lily was upset. The bond between the twins never failed to move Claire. "Can we sleep here tonight?" Rose asked, already cuddling next to her sister on the sofa. Marie exchanged a look with her mother, who nodded gently. Soon the Grand Laurent office was transformed into a makeshift nest. Helena brought more blankets and pillows, and the four of them settled in together. "Grandma," Lily called drowsily, "tell us a story. The one about the princess who saves the kingdom?" Claire smiled, tucking a blanket around her granddaughters. "How about a different story tonight? About a very brave young mother who did everything she could to protect her two little princesses?" Lily promptly asked, "Is it about Mum?" her sleepy eyes already half closed. "Yes, dear. About how your mum is the strongest, bravest person I know," Claire answered, stroking her granddaughter's hair. Marie felt silent tears rolling down her cheeks as Claire narrated her story in a way that the girls could understand, not as a desperate escape, but as a journey of love and protection. "And now," Claire concluded, seeing the twins fighting to stay awake, "the story has a happy ending, because the princesses found not only a safe castle, but a whole family to love and protect them." "And the bad man can't enter the castle?" Lily mumbled, nearly asleep. "No, sweetheart. The castle has magical guards, and family love is the strongest shield there is." After the twins finally fell asleep, Marie looked at her mother, tears in her eyes. "You make it sound so beautiful, even though it was such a difficult story." "Because it is beautiful, Marie. Your love for them, your courage in fleeing, your strength in rebuilding your lives, it's the most beautiful story I've ever seen." Claire picked up her tablet, showing Marie the preliminary reports that were pouring in. "We're going to handle this properly. Thomas won't be a threat anymore, nor will his associates. I have enough resources and contacts to ensure that." "I thought I was so alone all these years," Marie confessed, "that I had to carry all this fear by myself." "Never again," Claire promised, hugging her daughter while the twins slept peacefully between them. "We're stronger together. This family and the love we share, no one will ever threaten that." The sun was already rising by the time Marie finally drifted off, still holding her mother's hand. Claire stayed awake, standing guard over her family, her heart overflowing with love and determination. The next morning, while the twins ate breakfast in the kitchen with Helena, Claire and Marie met again in the office to finalize the security plan. It was about more than legalities or physical protection. It was about creating a safe environment where Rose and Lily could grow up unafraid, where Marie could finally relax her defenses and trust that she was truly safe. They would turn the Laurent mansion into not just a fortress to ward off threats, but a genuine home, where love and safety walked hand in hand, where shadows of the past could no longer reach them. And as Claire listened to her granddaughters giggling in the kitchen, she knew she would do whatever it took to preserve their smiles. Because this was her family, her greatest treasure, and nothing in the world could surpass the love that bound them. The apartment in the Murumbi neighborhood might not be as grand as the Laurent mansion, but for Marie and the twins, it meant something far more valuable: a fresh start. 3 bedrooms, a spacious living area, and a small balcony overlooking a public park. Exactly the home Marie had always dreamed of providing for her daughters. "Is this really my own room?" Lily repeated for the 10th time, twirling around in the space that would be entirely hers for the first time. The walls, freshly painted a soft shade of lilac she had chosen herself, still smelled of paint. "All yours, sweetheart," Marie answered, smiling as she watched her daughter take in the bookshelf Claire had stocked with children's books. Next door, Rose was setting up her new science supplies at her desk, a special gift from her grandmother. Moving out had been a deliberate choice on Marie's part. Though Claire had suggested they stay at the mansion, Marie knew they needed their own space, a place to build their life, without completely relying on her mother. "Are you sure you don't want to quit your job at the bakery?" Claire asked, helping organize the kitchen. "You have a solid income from your music lessons at the school." Marie placed some cups in the cupboard before speaking. "I want to keep it, Mom, at least for now. It's not about the money." She paused, searching for the right words. "It reminds me of how far we've come, what we've fought for." Claire nodded in understanding. Her daughter had changed so much in recent months, stronger, more self-assured, but still shaped by the hardships she'd faced. "Mrs. Maria will be happy," Marie continued, referring to the bakery owner. "She was one of the few who helped me when I needed it most. Now I can give back, working for choice rather than necessity. The sound of little girls' laughter filled the apartment. Helena, who insisted on helping with the move, was in the twins' bedroom, helping them organize their new items. "Grandma," Rose called excitedly, "come see what Helena brought." Claire and Marie found the twins sitting on the floor, surrounded by old photographs. Helena had brought some family albums from when Marie was a child, bridging past and present. "Is this you, Mum?" Lily asked, pointing to a picture of Marie at age 6 seated at the piano. "Yes, sweetie, my very first recital. You look scared," Rose noted, always quick to spot details. "I was terrified," Marie laughed softly. "But Grandma was right there in the front row cheering me on. Like you'll be at our school performance next week?" Lily asked hopefully. "Front row," Marie promised, sharing an emotional glance with her mother. "Always." In the following days, they settled into their new routine. Marie woke early to work at the bakery, then went straight to the school to teach music. The twins, radiant in their new uniforms, thrived in their classes. "Rose got a certificate today," Lily proudly announced at dinner a few weeks after the move. "Her teacher said she's the best in class at science." Rose blushed, but her eyes shone with pride. "Lily was chosen to read her story at the literary fair," she replied, returning her sister's compliment. Claire, who insisted on joining them for dinner whenever possible, watched them with a full heart. Her granddaughters, who had once collected cardboard on the streets, were now blossoming like rare flowers that had finally found the right environment to grow. "We have to celebrate," she declared. "How about a special weekend, maybe up in Malibu at that beach house we rarely use?" "Does it have a pool?" the twins asked in unison, making the adults laugh. "Yes, a pool," Claire confirmed, smiling. "And a garden, plus a small piano in the living room." Marie watched her daughters bubble with excitement over the weekend plans, their faces lit by the promise of adventure. Amazing how they'd adapted to this new life, still remaining the sweet, resilient girls they had always been, but now free to just be children. Later, after putting the girls to bed, Marie joined her mother on the balcony, contemplating the city lights. "Sometimes it feels like a dream," Marie said, sitting beside Claire. "Like I'll wake up back in that tiny apartment worried about rent again." Claire took her daughter's hand. "It's not a dream. You both earned this, Marie, with your courage and determination." "We earned it," Marie gently corrected. "Together." In the girls' room, Rose and Lily slept peacefully, cuddling the new plush toys Helena had given them. On the wall, a collage was forming, full of photos, drawings, and little accomplishments. Rose's science certificate, Lily's first published story in the school journal, pictures with Grandma at the park. The transformation wasn't only physical or material, it was something deeper, reflected in Marie's new, more frequent smiles, the growing confidence in the twins' eyes, and even in Claire herself, who had softened, allowing herself to be more grandmother than CEO. The apartment quickly gained its own personality. The living room, now graced with an upright piano, a joint present from Claire and Marie for the twins, often rang with music and laughter. The kitchen, once bare, now hosted experimental weekend recipes, some successful, some flops. Marie kept up her shift at the bakery, but on Saturday morning she turned it into a special moment with her daughters. The twins loved helping with the breads and cakes, flour-dusted and happy. "Do you know what Rose told me today?" Marie told Claire during one of their afternoon teas. "She wants to be both a doctor and a scientist, so she can help other kids in need." And Lily? The apartment became a gathering spot for the family. Helena would drop by regularly with homemade treats. Claire insisted on joining them for dinner whenever possible, and even Anna Marie's cousin got back in touch, delighted to meet the twin grandnieces. Life wasn't perfect. There were still tough days, moments of insecurity, occasional nightmares for the twins, but they faced it all together, the way families are supposed to. One particularly special afternoon, Marie was giving the first piano lesson to her daughters. Claire watched from the doorway, her heart overflowing with love. Rose, utterly focused on playing the right notes, and Lily, inventing a story for every melody together, they were the perfect blend of Marie's essence and their own unique traits. "Grandma, come play with us," Lily called, making space on the piano bench. And there, in that sunlit room, 3 generations of Laurent women gathered around the piano creating music as they wrote a new chapter of their story. "We're quite the family, aren't we?" Rose commented seriously, her small face reflecting her thoughtful nature. "The best family in the world," Claire replied, pulling them in for a hug. Marie glanced around at the apartment that now truly felt like home, at her daughters finally free to dream, at her mother, who had transformed into the best partner she could ask for. Yes, they were quite the family, a family who had overcome distance, fear, and hardship to find their way back to one another. A family that had learned that true love, once found, always finds a way to heal, rebuild, and begin again. Night had fallen over Los Angeles when Claire found Marie sitting on the apartment's small balcony. The twins had already fallen asleep, worn out from a busy day at school. In Marie's lap was an old wooden box Claire recognized instantly, the one Marie used as a child to keep her favorite sheet music. "I found this today while organizing the last corner of the apartment," Marie said softly, her eyes on the yellowed pages inside. "Remember this one?" Claire sat next to her daughter, noting the sheet music in her hands. "Your first composition, you were only 8. Dance of the Butterflies," Marie recalled with a smile. "Because you said my hands on the piano looked like butterflies dancing." A comfortable silence settled between them, broken only by the nighttime sounds of the city. Marie kept flipping through the pages, each one bringing back memories she'd stored away long ago. "You know what hurt the most?" she finally asked, her voice low but steady. "It wasn't the pressure to take over the company or the constant nagging. It was feeling like my choices were never good enough for you." Claire felt her heart tighten. "Oh, Marie, I was so caught up in protecting you from what I went through that I pushed you away. When I lost my mother so early, I had to fight so hard to build all of this on my own. So I did the exact same thing." Marie gave a humorless laugh. "I ran away, tried to prove I could do everything by myself, determined to show my worth." "You proved so much more than your worth." Claire took her daughter's hands. "You showed that you're stronger and wiser than I ever was, raising 2 amazing girls in the toughest circumstances." Marie looked at her mother, tears glistening in her green eyes. "Some nights when the twins were babies and I had no money for formula, I used to dream that you'd appear, hold me, and say everything would be okay." "Forgive me?" Claire asked, her voice catching. "For not being the mother you needed?" "Only if you forgive me, too," Marie answered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "For running away, for hiding the girls from you all this time." A soft noise came from the twins' bedroom, interrupting them. Lily stirred in her sleep, and Rose, half awake, reached out instinctively for her sister's hand. "They're so connected," Claire observed lovingly. "They remind me of you and cousin Anna when you were little." "Did Anna try to find me after I left?" Marie asked, recalling old memories. "Every day for months. She kept insisting I was wrong to force you down my path, that you needed to find your own way." Claire wiped away a tear. She was right, as usual. She always had more sense than I did when it came to these things. "Mom?" Rose's sleepy voice cut through from the bedroom. "Are you crying again?" Marie opened her arms and Rose crawled onto her lap, dragging a drowsy Lily along. Soon the 4 of them were crammed onto the small balcony couch in a tangle of hugs and warmth. "They're not sad tears, my love," Claire explained, stroking Rose's hair. "Sometimes we cry when our hearts are very full of love." "Like when Lily cries at butterflies?" Rose asked, her childlike wisdom shining through. Marie laughed softly. "Yes, something like that. Mom and I are learning to be friends again." "But you're already friends," Lily murmured, half asleep. "Grandma makes tea just like you, Mom. She tells stories and gives good hugs." Claire felt her heart swell at the child's simple words. "You know, Lily, your mom used to say those exact words about me when she was your age." "Because it's true," Marie said, locking eyes with her mother. "Even when I was too angry to admit it." "Will you forgive me?" Claire asked softly. "For every time I didn't listen, for trying to mold you to my expectations?" "If you forgive me too," Marie repeated, tears shining. "For running away, for hiding the twins and all those lost years." "They weren't lost," Claire gently corrected her. "They were years you needed to become this incredible woman sitting in front of me, a mother who raised 2 wonderful girls against all odds." Rose and Lily listened to the conversation, eyes heavy with sleep yet still keenly aware. Their little heads rested on Mom and Grandma's laps, comforted by the warmth of family. "Can we have magic tea every day now?" Lily asked, making them all smile. "We can have anything you want, my loves," Claire replied, her heart brimming over. "We have all the time in the world to make new memories together." "And can you teach us to play piano like Mom?" Rose asked hopefully. Marie looked at her mother, a genuine smile lighting her tired face. "Actually, I think you should start playing first, Mom. What do you think? Do you still have that grand piano at the mansion?" "Waiting for you," Claire answered softly. "It's always been there, waiting for you." That night, long after the girls had returned to bed and fallen asleep, Claire and Marie stayed up talking, crying and laughing, recovering the pieces of a relationship that had never truly been lost, only misplaced for a time. And when the morning sun broke over the Los Angeles skyline, they realized that some wounds, when healed with love and understanding, could transform into bridges toward a better future. "One day at a time," Marie asked, echoing a phrase her mother used when she was a child. "One day at a time," Claire confirmed, pulling her daughter into a hug. "Together." The sun was lazily rising over the city when Claire returned to the small apartment. This time she carried not only the usual breakfast basket, but also a brown leather folder that seemed heavier than usual in her hands. The twins were already awake, drawing on the floor with the colored pencils they had received from their grandmother. Marie was brewing coffee in the tiny kitchen, her bakery uniform ironed and hanging, ready for her afternoon shift. "Good morning, my darlings," Claire said, setting the basket on the table. The aroma of fresh croissants made the twins' eyes sparkle. "Did you bring strawberry jam?" Lily asked hopefully. "Even better," Claire replied, taking out a jar from the basket. "Helena made a special berry jam just for you." While the girls dug into breakfast, Claire exchanged a meaningful glance with Marie. "Can we talk after they leave for school?" Marie nodded, though a flicker of worry crossed her face. 2 hours later, with the twins safely on their way to class with Mrs. Zephyr, Claire opened the leather folder she'd brought. "I know you'll resist," she began gently, "but just hear me out first." Marie sat rigidly in the single chair, her fingers curling around a now-cold cup of coffee. "Mom." "Please," Claire interjected softly. "Then you can say no if you want." She pulled out a stack of carefully organized paperwork. First, Santa Clara School. It's one of the best in the city with a special music and arts program. Rose could join the science club she dreams of, and Lily could enroll in a creative writing workshop. "We can't afford a private school," Marie started, but Claire pressed on. "They have a scholarship program. Actually," she smiled, "I already spoke to the principal. The girls were accepted with a full scholarship for the next 5 years. Marie blinked, surprised. "How?" "On their own merits." The principal was impressed by Rose's drawings and Lily's short stories. Claire paused. "And also, there's an opening for a music teacher in the extracurricular program." Heavy possibilities hung in the silence that followed. "I can't quit my 2 jobs at once," Marie finally responded. "We need that money." "What if I said there's an apartment?" Claire produced another sheet from the folder. "It's in the same block as the school. 3 bedrooms, a recreation area, much cheaper rent than here." "Mom?" Marie stood, running a nervous hand through her hair. "I can't accept all of this. It's too much. This isn't charity, Marie. It's an investment in my granddaughter's future, in your future." "What if it doesn't work out?" Marie's voice trembled. "If the girls don't adapt or if I fail at teaching, then we'll figure something else out," Claire answered simply. "Together. You're not alone anymore." Marie gazed out the tiny window at the city bustling below. "I'm so scared," she whispered, "scared of depending on someone again, losing control of my life." "I understand that fear," Claire replied, placing a comforting hand on her daughter's shoulder. "But think about the girls. Think about Rose's dream to become a doctor, Lily's dream to become a teacher. Don't they deserve this opportunity?" "They deserve the world," Marie breathed, tears spilling over her cheeks. "So let me help you give them that," Claire said gently. "And help you too." She hesitated. "There's one more thing." From the folder, she pulled a final envelope. "What's in there?" Your old sheet music. I found it in the piano at home." Claire smiled softly. "That one you were composing before you left. It's still unfinished." Marie took the envelope with trembling hands. The yellowed pages bore pencil notes, musical dreams she'd abandoned years ago. "I thought I'd lost this forever," she murmured, gently tracing the lines of music. "I never lost anything that was yours," Claire said. "I kept everything, waiting for the day I could give it back to you." Footsteps sounded on the stairs outside. Soon the twins' lively voices filled the small apartment. "Mom, Mom!" Rose burst in, Lily right behind her. "We forgot our lunch and had to come back." They stopped in their tracks when they saw tears on their mother's face. "Why are you sad, Mom?" Lily asked, concerned. "I'm not sad, my love," Marie responded, offering a watery smile. "I'm just thinking about making some changes." "What changes?" Rose asked, curiosity lighting her eyes. Marie glanced at her mother, then at her daughters, her two little warriors who deserved more than a life of constant struggle and fear. "How would you feel about going to a new school?" she asked softly. "One with a real science lab for Rose and a creative writing class for Lily?" The twins' eyes went round. "Like the one Grandma talked about?" Rose asked, excitement creeping into her voice. "Exactly," Claire confirmed with a smile. "Will we get to live closer to Grandma?" Lily asked. "So she can make magic tea every day?" Marie laughed, a sound that had become more common lately, yet it still carried the weight of all she'd been through. "Yes, maybe it's time for some real changes." "For you," she said, looking at her daughters. "For me too." Claire watched as the girls wrapped their arms around their mum, their faces alight with joy. Marie still held the old sheet music, the pages trembling with renewed hope. "A new beginning?" Claire suggested softly. Marie hugged her daughters tighter, finally allowing herself to envision a different future. "A new beginning," she agreed. "For all of us." That day, while the twins returned to school chattering excitedly about their upcoming adventures, something fundamental changed in that tiny apartment. The fear of tomorrow, though not gone, was gradually giving way to hope. And when Marie finally returned to the grand piano at the Laurent mansion a few days later, placing her hands on the keys with the sure touch of someone coming home after a long journey, she knew she had made the right choice. Some opportunities are too precious to lose to fear. Months passed, and the new routine became their reality. Marie and the twins settled into the better apartment near the school, embraced the opportunities Claire offered, and discovered that healing wasn't just about escaping the past, but building a future worthy of their dreams. Rose, thriving in her science classes, continued to talk about becoming a doctor-scientist hybrid, determined to help others. Lily, devouring books and writing stories, found a new reason each day to believe in happy endings. And Marie, at last, rediscovered her love for composing and performing, teaching music to children who, like her, once needed a chance. Claire, for her part, learned that family was more than just legacy or material comfort. It was about trust, humility, and love, the kind that bridges any gap, forgives any mistake, and lights the way home. Together they proved that real love, the love of a mother, a daughter, and two small angels with crescent-shaped birthmarks, could rebuild broken hearts, heal old wounds, and compose a melody strong enough to echo for generations.